Boys and girls, yesterday we had a very sad story. We were we were talking about those 12 spies. There was so many reasons why those 12 spies should have said, of course, if the Lord can make all those things happen to the Egyptians, if he can make the Red Sea open up, if he could make the manna come down from heaven every day, if the Lord can do that, he can let us go into this land that has big giants in it. That's no problem for the Lord. But they didn't. And now they have a terrible punishment. And their punishment is that they are not allowed to go to the land of promise. They have to stay in the desert for 40 years. But their children will be allowed to go in. But of course, after 40 years, they won't be children anymore. If they were 20 years old when this happened, they would be 60 years old when it was time to go in. If they were just a baby, they would be 40 years old. So that was their punishment. Now you would think, boys and girls, you would think that the people would be sad about that, and they would be very unhappy that they had hurt the Lord like this, because it does hurt the Lord when we don't believe in him. But they didn't. And now this, you know what happened? Now, these people, they're wandering. I should probably move this a little bit over. They're wandering here in this desert. And instead of being sorry, they become angry. It sometimes happens to us too, doesn't it? When we get into trouble, instead of being sorry, we get mad. And that's what they did. And some of them started to talk about Moses and Aaron. Now remember that I told you, it's the tribe of Levites. They're the ones that are allowed to help in the tabernacle. They help put it down and they help put it up. They take care of the furniture. But it's only the priests who are allowed to go in the tabernacle. And that was Aaron's family. And now they start talking. There's one of them, his name is Korah. Let's say that together.
Korah.
It's like this. It's not like, it's not spelled the way that Judah's sister is spelled. It's a different kind. It's a boy Korah. Korah and Dathan and Abiram. Korah, he was one of the Levites, but he wasn't a priest. He thought, I'd like to be a priest too. And then there was two other men. They were Dathan and Abiram. Let's say that. Dathan and Abiram. And they were from the tribe of Reuben. And they started talking to each other. Moses, we're all God's people, right? Who does Moses think he is? Yeah, I think Moses is not. We're all God's people. We're all holy. We're all set apart. Why should Moses talk like that? And why should Aaron be the only one who talks to the priest? And they got other people angry. And then there was 250 men that said, yeah, you're right. And they went to Moses and they said, you guys think you're too great. You think you're above all the rest of us, but all God's people are holy, not just you. And Moses said to them, the Lord has picked me. It's because the Lord did. It's the Lord. Why are you arguing against me? It's the Lord who does this. And then he said, you take too much on. He said, especially to Korah. Korah, you're allowed to be a Levite. You're allowed to help with the tabernacle. You get to do the special work of the Lord. Why do you want to be a priest too? You think too greatly of yourself, Korah. And then Moses said, tomorrow, I want all the people to come, you 250 men, and bring a censer in your hand. A censer, boys and girls, we're not exactly sure, but it's probably like a little saucepan with a great big long handle. And he said, put some incense in it. That means special kind of nice smelling oil. And bring it to the tent of meeting. And then he called Dathan and Abiram to come to him. And Dathan and Abiram said, we're not coming. What? Who made you a prince over us? You took us out of the land that was flowing with milk and honey. And you haven't brought us to the land of flowing with milk and honey. You haven't given us any fields or anything. No, we're not coming. Moses was angry. He said to God, don't listen to them. I've never hurt those people. I've never done anything bad to them. I've never even taken a donkey or anything from them. But then, now what happened is the very next day, they did what Moses said. Those 250 men, they took their kind of bronze censers and their brass, and they brought them to the tent of meeting. And then when they were at the tent of meeting, God's glory came down. And the people saw God's glory. And God said to Moses, separate you and Aaron from the people, and I will destroy them. God was doing that to let Moses again plead for his people. God loves it when we plead for his people, just like Jesus did it for us. And Moses said, oh Lord, don't. You are the great, merciful God. Please forgive them. Just because these men sin, are you gonna destroy the whole congregation? And God said, tell the congregation to move away from the tents of Dathan and Abiram. Now you might remember, boys and girls, Korah. Here's the tabernacle. Some of the Levites were here, some of the Levites here, and some of the Levites here. And here was Judah. This is where the tribes of Judah were. Here's the tribe of Reuben. So this is where Reuben's tents were. So this Dathan and Abiram, they were standing outside their tents with their wives and their little children. And they were all standing there. And Korah was standing with them too. Korah wasn't by his own tent, we don't think. And then Moses talked to the people. He said, if these men die, Korah, Dathan, and Abiram, if they die, just the way everybody dies of old age or sickness, then the Lord has not sent me. But if the Lord makes something new, first of all, he said, get away from the tents. And everybody did. They said, if the Lord makes something new, and the earth opens up and swallows them up, then you will know that the Lord sent me, has picked me and Aaron. And that's why he's doing this thing. And just he finished speaking, and that's exactly what happened. The earth opened up, and Dathan and Abiram and their whole families and all their tents went swoosh right into the middle of the earth. And then the earth closed up again. Oh! Said all the people, and they ran away. They ran away. They said, oh, watch out, we don't want to be swallowed up by the earth. You would think, boys and girls, that when the people saw that, they would think, oh, it shouldn't have been like that. Oh, and those 250 men, what happened to them? Fire came down from heaven and burned them all up. And all their censers were on the ground. And God said to Moses, I want you to beat out all those censers. Get them all hot again, and then you're going to use that to cover the altar. So whenever the people see that altar, they'll remember, oh yes, I don't get to choose what I'm doing for the Lord. The Lord does. It's the Lord who chooses. Let the Lord choose. Well, the very next day, did the people come to Moses and say, we were so wrong? No, you know what they did? You killed the Lord's people! That's what they said. You killed the Lord's people! And then God's anger came. And God sent them a plague. That means a disease that made people die, and very quickly. And Moses said to Aaron, quick, get the incense and some of the ashes from the altar and run to the people and make atonement so the Lord will forgive them. And so Aaron ran with it, and he ran between the living and the dead. And there were 14,700 people died, besides all those 250, and besides Korah, Dathan, and Abiram. So the people learned that it's God who chooses, and that their hearts have to say, God, what you want for me is what I want too. And tomorrow's story is finally a little bit of a happier one, because God's going to show his people, let me choose who I'm going to choose to especially be a minister, to be a priest for me. And that's the end of the story.